Hey, good morning, friends. It's Joe. Welcome to my scripture reflection for Wednesday, January the 10th. Hope you're doing well, and if you're living here in the Northeast and you did okay through that storm last night, it's a lot of wind and a lot of rain, and you certainly, it can be very damaging. Heard sirens during the night, and you always wonder how people are doing in their homes, but even more so, how people who are not in a home and animals who are not in a home, how they're dealing with it in the elements. It's just something that always kind of moves my heart, and I know it probably does yours as well. So let's always keep them in mind, always offer our prayers and concerns as best we can for anyone who's affected by any of these type of things. So, with that, I will ask you to quiet your minds and hearts as we prepare to hear today's gospel, which is from St. Mark, chapter 1, verses 29 to 39. On leaving the synagogue, Jesus entered the house of Simon and Andrew with James and John. Simon's mother in law lay sick with a fever. They immediately told him about her. He approached, grasped her hand, and helped her up. Then the fever left her, and she waited on them. When it was evening after sunset, they brought to him all who were ill or possessed by demons. The whole town was gathered at the door. He cured many who were sick with various diseases and drove out many demons, not permitting them to speak because they knew him. Rising very early before dawn, he left and went off to a deserted place where he prayed. Simon and those who were with him pursued him, and on finding him said, "Everyone is looking for you." He told them, "Let us go to the nearby villages, for I may preach there also. For this purpose have I come." So he went into the synagogues, preaching and driving out demons throughout the whole of Galilee. I don't know about you, but there are many times where I have this image of Jesus shaking his head from up above in a non positive way, like, oh, because he's obviously doesn't like some of the things he sees down here, let's be honest, right? And some of them are in the form of sinfulness and not following up with our faith. And we know all that, right? But a gospel like this one really makes me think that he also shakes his head at just the basics of life, the blocking and tackling, if you will, of life. Jesus rose very early, they tell us. He went to the mountain to pray, and then they found him, and off he immediately went to work to do what he was called to do. Sounds very good, right? Well, it's not something we see very much of today. And I think I'd like to cover that because I think Jesus is shaking his head a little bit on that as well. A week or so ago, I was diverted through town. I always try to avoid the schools when they're going in. But it was 8:35 and the schools are supposed to go in at 8:30, so I figured I was safe. I was not. There was a lineup of parents bringing kids into the building. Now, I will tell you, it was a very sunny day and it was not at all adverse weather. And they kept coming and they were in no rush whatsoever. And they were already 5 minutes late. This isn't the only situation. There are situations in the workplace as well. I could tell you a place that I worked now still allows people to work from home with no accountability whatsoever. No even looking into what they're doing each day. I think we have lost a lot in terms of accountability and commitment to what we do as humans here on God's earth. We need to put the effort in a little bit more like Jesus did. Like Jesus did and still does up from heaven, but when he was here as a human, he gave us an example to follow. And that example I think we should follow a little bit better each day. I suggest, if you're in a position where you can have control over these things, to make decisions that are hopefully positive for the future for people. That they look back and say, yes, that was a good lesson for me to learn to get up earlier and do what I need to do. That was a good lesson for me to learn to stay a little bit later at work and do what I needed to do and finish that project and not just say, I'm out of here. And if you're in a position where you're not totally affecting that anymore, be an example where you can be here on earth, here in your place where God has placed you. I think this is very important for the world and I feel it was an important message to share, and I hope you feel so as well. Let's stop Jesus from shaking his head on this one because we need to follow his example and his work ethic and his commitment. Well, my friends, that's my message for you on this Wednesday morning. I always appreciate your comments and your thoughts, and I always appreciate you being here with me. I'm going to take a moment or two of silent reflection, and then we'll end with a prayer. Most loving Jesus, instill in us the commitment that you had when you walked this earth. Your work ethic, your dedication to your craft, to who you were, to who you were called to be, is something that we all need to follow. Give us the ongoing discipline to do just that and to have an influence over others so they may follow your example as well. My friends, I wish you all a wonderful Wednesday, and I hope to see you back here soon. Take care, everyone.